Okay. Deputy Chief Thomas Castro, Thomas Castro. I'm the Deputy Chief over the Criminal Investigations Division. So this morning at approximately 12:19 a.m., 4 individuals agreed to sell property to the suspects using a social media app. The parties agreed to meet in the 3100 block of Stagg Road to conduct the transaction. While these individuals were driving to the location, the suspects asked to change the meeting location to the 4600 block of Fellows Lane. The individuals in the vehicle arrived at 4600 Fellows Lane and were about to leave that location when one of the suspects ran up to the vehicle and fired into that vehicle. A Latin male, 15 years old, was grazed by a bullet, and a 12-year-old Latin female was severely injured. There were 2 other occupants in the vehicle, a Latin male, 17, and a Latin female, 17, and they were not injured. After the shooting, the suspects fled on foot. The first suspect is described as a black male, 17 to 20 years old, skinny, with short curly hair, and he was wearing a black muscle shirt. The second suspect is described as a black male, 17 to 20, heavy set, with a fade haircut that blends into a mohawk, and he was wearing a white shirt. On May 21st, 2018, the Dallas Police Department and our offer-up unveiled the city's first exchange zone. This exchange zone is located at 1919 East Camp Wisdom Road in front of the Dallas Police Department's South Central substation. This community meetup spot is designed to create a safer space for buyers and sellers for online transactions. This location is well lit and monitored. The Dallas Police Department is asking for the public's assistance in solving this crime. We are asking anyone with any information to contact Detective Johnson at 214-671-4253. Callers who wish to remain anonymous may call Crime Stoppers at 214-373-8477, and Crime Stoppers will pay up to $5,000 for information that leads to an arrest or an indictment for this felony offense. So I'll take a couple questions this time.
Chief, the shooting happened on Fellows because the distinction is your initial response was about almost 4 miles away on South Lamar, I believe.
Correct. Yeah, the shooting actually happened on Fellows, and then we arrived at the 3800, I think it's 3800 South Lamar.
Okay. So did they, to your knowledge, based on your investigators, did the victims just drive away and then call police? Or I'm trying to get a sense of the difference between the two.
You know, they drove and tried to get out of harm's way, and ultimately ended up at the South Lamar address.
I know you guys were checking for any kind of surveillance video. Do you have any luck finding anything?
At this point, no. So, you know, we got out, sent the detectives back out this morning, along with the officers from the Southeast Patrol Division, trying to contact any kind of witnesses or look for any kind of surveillance. And to this point, we have received a little bit of calls, information, but not anything that is moving this case forward at this time.
And the distinction, Chief, on the victims themselves, they were the sellers of these items? That
Yes.
was the transaction, that's what I'm trying to get ahead.
They were, yes, the 4 individuals that were driving to the location were going to sell property to the 2 black male suspects.
Do you know what the social media app they were using to coordinate that was?
We won't get into the specific apps, but it's a social media app.
Okay.
Chief, and you said the victim was 12 years old and the female?
Yeah, you had a Latin male that was 15 that was grazed. He's been released, treated and released, and the Latin female is 12 that was severely injured.
You know, we were told,
And she's still in the hospital, and do we have a condition on her?
Critical.
Female?
Critical.
Critical?
Yeah.
and PD confirmed it was at Children's Medicals where she's being treated?
I never give the location, just local area hospital.
Okay.
So you don't think these guys were actually gonna buy anything, they were just sort of setting these people up, you think possibly for a robbery, or do we don't know yet?
Generally, these are set up for a robbery, you know, and it's unfortunate, but they use these kind of apps to set these kind of offenses up, and then the intention is to rob. Yes.
Have you had pretty good response in this safer space? Have you got a lot of people using it or not?
That I don't have all the numbers yet. It's kind of too early to tell. Probably gonna have to wait probably, you know, several months to a year to kind of see exactly how many people are using that location.
But obviously you'd like to see more people use it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what it's designed for. It's well lit. It's monitored. It's in front of our South Central police station, and that's just, you know, if you can't make it out there, you know, we put tips on our blog before. You know, and I'll just kind of go through a couple of them. You know, if the deal seems too good to be true, it's probably more likely that that's kind of a setup. You know, you're not going to buy some of this property and equipment for very cheap. Some of these phones and other accessories are very expensive. You know, if they attempt to get personal information from you, you know, kind of go away from that. And the sellers, we encourage them to pick the location to meet. And if the buyers try to change that location, I walk away from it. You know, there's no reason for them to change the location. You know, conduct your business if you can during daylight hours into a populated, trafficked area, a mall or something. If you can't use this exchange zone, we would encourage people to use this exchange zone. Never divulge any personal information. And always know your surroundings. Take somebody with you when you're going to go make these purchases. So things like that.
I've got something here that says police say it was a app off of Craigslist, but you're not confirming that?
Now, it's not Craigslist, but I won't
It's
give
not
the specific,
Craigslist.
correct.
Chief, based on what's been shared with you from your investigators at this point, is it the 17-year-old who's providing the details of the scenario, the chronology of what's happened? Because again, we're now at 3 locations and trying to get the scenario of what they were doing, where they were going, because they moved from one location to the other, and they were found in a 3rd location. So is this from your investigators providing the chronology from this 17-year-old who's driving?
I'll just say that this is where we're at this far into the investigation. The information that we received, this is where we're at. They were trying to go to location 1 to make the initial transaction. It was changed to a 2nd location where they were shot, and then ultimately ended up on Lamar, 3rd location.
Is it clear, was one of the people who were shot, were they the person handling this transaction? Were they selling it, or were all 4 of them?
That's something that we don't know the specifics on which one of the 4 in the vehicle had set up that, but they were all going to that location to sell property.
And this may not be information you guys can share, but I'm trying to get a sense of if those individuals knew who they were meeting. Did they have a description of that car or cell phone number, anything that, if they're going to have this kind of transaction with these people?
That's something that we always look into in the investigation. I mean, that's at times how these detectives move the case forward, but we will get into the specifics on what they look for in these types of investigations. But really what I'd like to say, and then I'll leave you guys, is somebody out there, you know, this area where the shooting took place, community knows each other very well. These younger children, kids, teenagers talk a lot. So I'd encourage the parents of these children that if they hear something, say something. You know, you have a 12-year-old female that's been shot. You know, she's in serious condition, critical condition. And just imagine if that was your child, needing somebody to come forward with information to move this case along. So I'll leave you with that, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks, sir.
Chief, is there any indication of where they were coming from, what part of the city they may have lived in to go to?
That's
that
something we'll
location?
look at, but we never
Okay.
generally divulge that stuff.
Okay.
Just encourage them to
I got it.
use these safety tips.